We will get started with the next session. And Khyati and Timothy Kane are going to lead us along with Professor Luis DeLaro's, okay, from WSU Tri-Cities. So they have 3 faculty members down there. He's one of them, along with John Miller and another faculty member. And so he's been working together with this group. So I'm going to let you take it away. Who's first?
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So, did you guys already had those data sets that Gabriel sent out? And you have installed both those toolboxes, right? S1 toolbox as well as deep learning toolbox. Okay. If you need any help, Timothy can help you with whatever you're having trouble with. All right, we're gonna get started. Right, so in a poster presentation session, I think you guys already heard what is SOM and why we're doing this project. But just to introduce you with the basic terms, we're using national vulnerability data set where we're getting logs of software vulnerability configuration settings and errors like that. And what we are doing, we have a CVEs and CWEs. So CVE is a common vulnerabilities and exposures, which is a description that uniquely identifies vulnerability specific to specific product or protocol, and common weakness and number ratio, that's called CWE. That's a dictionary of software weaknesses that provide you understanding on software flows and potential impacts of their exploitations and how we can mitigate those flaws. So these are some of the terms that now you guys might be familiar with. And so we're using V2W BERT framework, which is the reason why we're using is to classify CVEs using CWEs and training with the optimization process. And we're going to go into hands-on stuff. And so for that, first, I want you to pull out your editor, and in your command prompt, type in NC toolbox. And this is how the data set looks. The vector data set that I was telling you guys all about, this is actually conversion of the text description of the CVE. And the files that you have, the vector 5000 file, that's this file. And when you type in NC tool, you should receive this kind of screen. Does everybody got it?
Yeah, when you have to do it, just type NC tool.
Yeah, and this screen will pop up. Hey, once you get it, this is the next step you need to do. So you have those 2 files. You know location of those 2 data files, right? So first you have to click on import data. When you click on import data, you have to select that 5000 vector file. It's a text file. Select that text file and give it a path. Yes, there's one, it's called 5000 vector.txt, and there's another one which is a mat file, .mat file. We're not going to need .mat file right now. We're using just a vector file. Oh. Okay.
Something interesting about this is this first part is just visual interface. So you're gonna see an interface how we can do everything so that I can go. Then you're gonna find out to go.
like Gabriel forgot to send you guys second class.
What?
He just sent the vector file. He didn't send the other document. But you guys have the, so at least you guys have the 5,000 vector file, right?
Okay, let's run it with that one for now.
Yeah, but that's what we're gonna use right now. So load that file. Once you do this, and then you
So how do we load the file? Do we just copy the whole thing?
No.
click on import. If you see import in here,
He's saying about.
oh, from email, you just have to download it. Yeah.
There's a field.
No, you're gonna go into browse.
Oh.
Yeah, do browse. Not, you're not gonna select from the drop down. Click on browse. This button right here. Click on that and then you'll be able to select your file. Once you do that, then you have to select observation in, select rows. And then you can do next.
Sorry.
How's everybody doing? Any problem?
Oh, yeah, I have a.
I already have the one.
Thank you.
Now has to say 768.
He was looking for the data set.
You get the 768 features when you run it. Yes, that's what we're at. The 768 features. So you want.
Thank you.
You get it? Yeah, we got it. That one says 768 features.
So if you would, yeah, if you would select rows, then it would show you 768 features, not 1400 something. That's the column that. Right. In this window, you just have to click next and then go next and then finish this process. Once you finish the process, then this is, you're gonna have this pop-up. It says 5,000 observation with 768 features. Huh? Is it working for you? Working? Yes.
We got it. We got it.
Right, select rows from here, and then you would get this menu. And from here, in map size, select 6, and then click on train. Is it working? Okay. Okay, then once you click on train, it's gonna train it, and you will see this window, and it's gonna train it until 200 epochs. I think it's gonna take a while to train it, so be patient.
About this, about 66. Stop. Map size is 6. Results. And then you're gonna make sure it's map size is 6.
Right.
And then, yes, this should be trade code.
Keep in mind, this is not real. This is
Say, you need to change this map size to 6.
So when you talk about this data set, is it just like some made up data or is it like something
No.
you use in your project?
No, so that data set, the vector data set that I send you guys, it's actually a vector conversion of CVEs. Yeah, so there's a complete another list of CVEs. That file we have is in a CSV format, and you can see CVE ID, its description, and all the details. And in this file, we converted that into vectors. So here you see just numbers. So it's easy to work with.
Those numbers is the representation about the description. So before writing the description, and then convert to numbers. So you can use it. But it's not those so data in this part of the work. Okay. We were working with 188,000.
Just for easy computation. And it takes a little less time.
How long does the full data take to process? Like days?
It takes 24 hours or maybe more, depending on your configuration. He was using 2 GPUs, and still we were I think processing it for almost like 24 hours. So it takes a while for the training.
curious, working decided on map libraries.
So we already had implemented this in Python. This was a different route because we wanted to see more visualizations. That's why we went with MATLAB. I know Python has visualizations too, but S1 toolbox and this thing, it's inbuilt in MATLAB. You just have to use it.
Then you will see how fast those computers are.
Okay, once the training is done, then you can click on, you will see this window, and you can click on any of this map. You see neighbor distance, weight planes, sample hits. Weight plans and weight positions would take a little bit more time to produce the map. But if you would click on sample hits, it's going to be pretty quick. And this is the map that you will see.
Please use sample hits. Don't do the weight plan for today. That is too much time.
Is this training done for everybody? Or so
33%.
For sure, you would see different numbers. And,
Yes. It's not similar for everybody because it trains every time anybody would run it. It's a batch algorithm that it runs on. It will tell you on the side. It says batch unsupervised. Yep, that's the algorithm it uses. Yes, it's unsupervised learning because we don't have labels. If you see the data set, it just has numbers. It doesn't tell you what is 0, what's the first row, what's second row. It doesn't tell you anything.
So how much does the, well, because I know random number generators are used a lot, for class runs.
Uh-huh.
Is it because of that variation in thermodynamic moments? Does it utilize that in any way? Is that why it changes?
No, the reason why that one changed is because the seed to create
create those cells
Yeah.
are different every single
Every
time.
single time.
Because the seed patterns are generated randomly. Yeah, and the algorithm, as Miller explained, the algorithm trying to match every single data that you have in one of those cells.
Yeah.
If the initial seed is different, for sure the entire scope is gonna be different, but the variation is not too much. So there is simply variation, but it's not too much. So at the end, when we do the clustering, we will see almost everybody in the same cluster in one row and then in the second row. So there is another step that we need to do in this one that is aiming to do the clustering for those. Because those are cells, those are small cells that we can put in together to create clusters. And the next experiment that we're gonna do today, we're gonna see something big.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see clearly how the cluster can be created apart or from the cells. Okay?
Does everybody got the plots?
Let's go training.
Okay. I know AWS workspace is a little slow, so.
75%.
Like, what's the lowest? It's sort of like you do have to have that. Okay. Yeah. That's.
So, okay, so whatever you saw in this one, it was using NC Toolbox. And now you're gonna go to the next part that is using S1 Toolbox. And then Professor Lewis is gonna explain you the whole process, how you can do it hands-on.
Okay, but to this point, this is not the end of the process for this research. So when we look at this data is just cells, and cells are like small groups that need to be put together to create bigger groups. And the bigger group is for us the clusters. Okay? So the tool or the technique that we use to do the cluster, that we use to create the clustering is called K-means. Miller explained that before. But Miller explained that the K-means can be made in the entire data set. But what we use is the K-means in the guide that represent every one of these single cells. Every one of these cells has a candidate or a prototype that represent these 745 guides. So we don't need to deal with the 745. We can use only one single element to represent this cell. And in that way, my data at the end is a small data set to do the process for K-means. And then what K-mean is gonna do is taking all those centers and find the center that are crossed instead of doing the whole data, and then putting all of them together. But you're gonna see that in the next iteration, which is the one that I will present to you now. Okay, so to start this part of the workshop, you guys need to be ready with this tool, SON tool. Everyone already installed that? Yes or not? How we know if we have that installed? Khyati already sent to everybody a file, okay? I compiled that file to do the process step by step. You can do it by hand manually, or you can follow that code. It's just up to you what you want to do. But if you open the code, that code with MATLAB, and if the code is in the same place where the data is, we can run it. So the file, or the data file, has to be in the same place where you download the file. Please do that. Can I connect my computer here or not? Yes, just. You will know if you are ready, if you run the file and you get to this point. How to run it? There is a green button at the top. It's a triangle screen, and you can click, and the file is going to start running.
Please submit your marriage
I don't see the email from the phone. Yeah. I was sending it out.
No. They just got a text file. The vector file.
And we send that because if not, it's not be possible to run this project today because it's a lot of code and it's not easy to write all that code right now. So ask to somebody to send the email, please. Really? The first line of code that we need to write is that one. This one is to import all the data in the SON toolbox. So the same like that we did before with import is the same that we are doing now with code. Okay? Just loading the data. This is what the data is. So you make sure this.
So, first of all, you look at then you documents that you're going to use. So go to downloads. Now, here,
Everybody must have that.
And then you name it SON. Your CLC includes.
Oh, yeah.
I can go to the registry. Or for the courthouse.
Really?
I don't think so.
There's no way he does it.
Don't project. Years ago.
Send it, Khyati? Yes, okay.
The only reason I know is I saw it in a wedding.
Oh.
So you know
Why does he have- Okay, now that's what you-
no, it was the guy that did it in the neighborhood. And she said, "Asshole, it's the other." And she like, "Stop." And she like, "No." I felt like doing it. Okay. And
Which is your
friends. The timeline is extremely unfavorable. I think in and out, but they got ready. I'm sorry. Did you look at my mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check past them.
I don't think such shit up like that. You can also be like, oh, it's probably another person. Like, I don't know. No.
Anybody else having trouble loading the data?
Crazy. You're at like grandma's house. I don't even know what she
Did you know this guy existed?
No.
Why did she still do this?
No, my grandmother, my mom is not.
Did you find it?
Just not
You see the file back?
I don't remember his name. I remember I was like, you know, this is the best.
Yeah. Interesting choice.
Either I can.
Yeah.
It's a file to run.
I already sent that. Okay.
That outfit is really bad. That's just a bad outfit.
Just run it and that's it.
That's just a bad outfit.
Okay, the file that you received, guy, okay, sorry. The file that you received is a file that contains all the script that we need to write for today. The first line that we're gonna run is the one to load the data. For some of you that has trouble running that, if you didn't put in the file and the data in the same folder for SOM2, maybe you're gonna get some trouble. So Timothy is gonna verify if you are right to run that one just in whatever place of in the computer or inside the tool. Run it.
Okay. You're 9 people away. We were 11 and 6. Pretty good.
Okay, perfect. After reading the data, what is the next step? Any idea?
Training.
Training. Okay, let's see if you start. No? Yeah, the next one is training. So, can you hear me without this? Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you. So the next step is doing the training. And in this tool, we use something that is called SOM make. SOM make needs some parameters to run. The parameters are so simple. One of them is what is the topology? So if you use a rounded, if you use a plane, if you use a like donuts, okay, a torus, it's depending on what shapes you want. You can select the shape in this parameter shape. The other one is the map size. Remember that Kathy told you to move from 10 to 6 by 6? Remember that? Now this tool has 3 possibilities to use. Smaller, small, medium, or large. What do you think we're gonna use today? Large, okay, let's do large. No matter what, if you take some time, let's do large. And the other thing is, Kathy showed you that the system was running for 200 iterations. Remember? This tool also select the iteration using just short, before, or long. Okay, it's something that is pre-created, so we only need to select the object. And finally, when the tool was presenting to you the iterations for training, you see the numbers that say in what iteration we go. Yes? Do you see that, no? So we can see or not that report, because in some time that report made my computation longer because it takes time to do that display. So we can say that we want the training, the tracking, no tracking, or we can track every certain amount of iterations. For today, we can do 10 by 10. It's gonna be more easy, than doing 1 by 1. If you don't want tracking, you can put in 0. In my code, I put in 5, but I think for this computer 10 is gonna be better because I tested the computer and a little slow. So use that one with 10. If you look at the file that I shared with you, and that file instruction is there. You can just copy paste the instruction or run it by yourself. You can run it. Don't worry if that doesn't start immediately because that takes time. Yeah, that training.
So, yeah, so. I think we all agree on that.
Oh, wait.
Okay. Oh, that is cool.
Not add that on.
Working?
This is a parody.
I think. It's working. Yeah. Okay. Okay, everybody got it? Yeah, okay. So what happened to now? What do you think in what place we are now? Okay, we finished the training, what we get? After doing the training, what we get? Any idea? We get the model, but also we get the code books. The code books are the center for every single cell. You can explore that in your data. The output data is that one that says SM. You can explore that one. MATLAB has the tool that lets you explore that data. And you can find the lab types, you can find the size, you can find the code book, you can find everything in there. Right here. Yes, M.
Yeah.
Okay, next step. What do you think we need to do now? We already trained. We load the data. We already trained. What we can do? Display the data and see what we get. No? So for that, we have this small tool that can present this. This is a beautiful view matrix that can describe or represent the possibilities for my clusters. Every one of these small one is a cell, but every single cell is not enough to manage my model. So the best thing that we can do is find a way to conglomerate those. But this division or this UMAT is very helpful because it can guide us to find how the data can be aggregated or clustered. What is the size for this one? It's let me see your 44 by what? Oh, 1, 4, 5, total amount of cells. What? That's what. So this group of cells is at least 38 by 38 more. This is what we have. Okay, next step. Which one is? Any idea? Which one is the next step? The next step is use a tool that can find this group. Not by hand, just one tool that can help me to find that. But before that, we can analyze a little bit more how the data is already distributed in those cells. The biggest, this is a hexagon. The biggest hexagon means that we have more concentration. The smallest one means that we have less concentration. So the best way to do that is to get nodes that we have all the way outside. Yes. I installed what about using a square? What's happening? Let's see relations. And I never did this shit out there. Somebody did my you got it?
Well, our stadium is named after someone big grass. Yeah. Orange Stadium, yes.
Yeah.
It's Omar Stadium. Well, it's easy to see.
No, Thursday and it's gonna be fun.
It's like 30 attackers.
Building space frame construction. Built.
The elevation support is 25 feet.
Oh my God. My mom goes to some great. My mom. Oh my gosh, the Sonics played on.
No. First major concert was 3 Dog Night. You're the tiger.
What?
Personally, it's been. My dad tried to get me to go to the stage. Because he was back in. Musician at the stage, it's the party. It's a bunch of the stage members.
Okay. To this point, everything can be typed in the command prompt or can be typed in the script. But after here, the commands are a little more complicated. So I prefer if you take the command directly from the file or run the file by himself. By run the file directly on manual. It's just up to you what you want to do. The next step is how we can identify what these numbers are, because this one for sure is bigger than this, but we cannot see directly what is the relation of numbers. So we can change this plot and put in some numbers instead of the hexagons or white hexagons, and we can see this. And in the blue part, we can see the zeros. Those zeros mean that there is no concentration in there, and this is when we can see that this one is going to be a cluster, and also this one is going to be another mode. That code in there is not enough because you need to create the DM. And the DM is in the file that I give you. The way to create DM. It's in the line 98. Okay, one question, what you can see now. What these sample heat plots can represent. How many clusters do you think we're gonna create? I can guess that this is gonna be one. And what about this? This one. 4. What about this? This one. That one. It's okay, but we are human, so we cannot do this just looking at that and guess what is the result.
But that larger mass, does that represent overlapping clusters?
This one,
Or harder to count?
this one,
Yes.
this one. I think that when we use k-means, we will see that this one is create a peak.
Larger.
Yeah, larger. It's that I think is going to happen, but we need to run some tools for that. But to use k-means, the problem that well, it's no problem. It's how k-means was designed. K-means was designed thinking how many clusters I want to create. So I need to tell to k-means how many clusters k-means is going to use, and then k-means is going to try to reorganize everything in that amount of clusters that you say. But the problem is that we don't know exactly what number is. I can guess that it's 4, and I can guess that it's 10, but I don't know what is the right one. So for that, there is a tool that can help us to do that. What the tool do? Create the cluster for everyone and do some measure on that tool and identify the one with a small index. Miller was talking about that. Okay. And question? No? And that is this tool. We're gonna use k-mean cluster. That one use the Davis working index in the process. And what we need to do is find the smallest one. Maybe for me, the smallest one is 6, but for your own iteration, maybe it's 7. And remember, this changed a little bit. There is some small changes. By the way, this one is going to take a lot of time. So be patient on this. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. But this is doing this. For each number. Find the average.
Oh, yeah.
No, I could. Okay, remember, this one is to identify which one is the best. Basis in this measure. Maybe we have another measure say that another number is best. But for now, we're going to use this one. And after this, we will see the magic. The magic is this. Nice, no? Well, it's important. And we get some of them that will Okay, the last code is find the minimum and plot what the minimum says. So that means the minimum in that, I don't know if in your case it's gonna be 6 or 7. In my case, was 6. And what? You got 5? Yeah. Okay. So run that additional line and you will get this. No. Okay. No, there's no way. The problem is that the process is different because it's random select.
Like the same place.
That's the reason why.
And also
Difference.
It's gotta be like a compound difference.
That goes through the corners, through the top.
When you get to the onside. That thing.
And also, if you see what's board, so these two are the same. This one is just like my totals.
Yeah.
So that means this one is this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I can repeat that for you guys. This data is a representation of a plain version of a torus, no? So that means these two are the same. Yeah, and the same, if you fold it like this guy is this one. Finally, to conclude this for today is what about if you already know the number? You asked some magician and the magician told you that the number is 7. Do we need to run this one? No. There is a piece of the tool that can run directly with the number of clusters that you want to do.
I got an error.
All right, you got an error?
Well, it says I got this and it stopped. It's running the script.
It's non-critical, so if you click the input. See, the operations. It still has, it's just completing saying you need to update your implementation. You don't.
Yeah.
How many of you was using MATLAB before? How many of you guys was using MATLAB before? Nobody? MATLAB is not for computer science, no? I have a version of this on C++ running in Tula. If you are interested in doing that, you can do it. Okay?
I used TensorFlow before, and I spent like 10 days just getting the data normalized to the point where I could start training.
Wow.
And when you say like import the data set, it's like 3 operations. I'm like, why can I start with this?
The good thing about MATLAB is that everything is just easy to use, no?
Yeah.
You can do some prototyping super quick and that's it.
Yeah.
And then you need to move to some real tool.
Sure.
So you need to do something real like C++ using CUDA or something that you can parallelize this.
More like a tester.
Yes, exactly.
It's just like the demo.
Okay, guys, I think that this is everything from me now to you. What I did with this data, what Khyati did with this. Khyati compared this with actual labels and then verify if these clusters can represent very well how the data is labeling in the real life. She finds some interesting stuff, and in some moments, she got 100% classification, which is good. No, we need to work a little bit more on this, but this is the starting point for this tool. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Any question?
So it's the outcome's a little bit different every time. How do we use this information to aid our decision making?
Are different, but sometimes the difference came because the data was organized in a different way. But when we bring everything together, we put the model together, the prediction has to come to one label. That is what this one is going to do. So, and then this data was organized in some way that this cluster maybe is different because now maybe this is another label. And when we try to run the process is going to come to the same label, no matter what, with this organization or another one. That's the trick, no? But I was wondering at the beginning about that. Okay, how this going to work if the simulation is different every single time. Okay, that is it's like okay.
Did everybody got it? Hopefully it was informative for you guys. It was something new. Thank you so much.